from in a little bit. But with that said, I'll turn it over to Rusty for Happy Bucks.
Tracy and I had a birthday.
You did.
Patrick's live.
Happy birthday as well.
Okay.
Long. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tracy. Happy birthday to you. Yay.
I was on the Overson family vacation, and there were 48 of us all together. Oh, wow. It was a good time.
This is from my old gas I bought today.
Excellent.
Let's see. Happy Larry's here.
Yeah.
You left out, he was assistant superintendent of schools for a while, right?
Right.
Did we get?
Yeah, you said
Yeah, I said that.
You did that?
Yes.
Give me 5 minutes.
Our Canadian friend over here, and also.
Excellent.
You over here. Birthday girl. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a fine, and then for safety through all the floods. For our speaker, and the happiest is that my son was hired at Arts Place to serve as a percussion instructor. So
Yay.
super excited to get him involved in. Proud mom moment.
Glad to have him.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to be for a minute.
No. You're our guest.
Great time at the state fair, but I have 2 tickets. If anyone wants them still to the state fair, I'll gladly send them to you. I'm not going to be able to make it on Friday like I thought it was. So if anyone wants 2 tickets to the state fair, please see me or text me.
Yeah, the center.
Did I miss anybody?
I don't know. Gary's not here because he's at the VA getting new hearing aids.
I think we all should talk about that.
Oh, and for Larry and birthdays and whatever else.
All right.
Okay, all right, and then we also have a Rotarian anniversary. So Tracy Carpenter, you celebrated 5 years on the 17th. So my goodness, congratulations. Do we have any updates from any of our committees before we turn it over to our speakers? All right. Well, Jeff was not able to be here today, so he asked me to kind of be the host of our speakers for the day, and I happily said I would because this is a great group of individuals. I've had the pleasure of really just watching from afar and their great work, and I'm excited for you to get to hear what Heather Waldo is here to represent Red Key Community Development, and I'll let her talk about herself. What I did not know about Heather, I've been impressed watching her, but what I did not know is that she has served our country in the Air Force for 21 years, and so, and right after 9/11, so that deserves applause within itself.
Okay, I'm just
Speak into the mic.
I'm horrible at this. I'll just put that out there. And if I turn red and I look like I'm going to pass out and die, I probably shouldn't. So don't be too concerned about that. It's my Irish heritage coming out in me. My name's Heather Waldo. I'm originally from Red Key. I grew up, born and raised in the Grady family. I don't know if any of you, however many know, I see a few heads nodding. I'm the last of the 11 of us, so you shouldn't see too many. Well, there's some grandkids running around, but that other generation doesn't count as much. I grew up a block north of the clock tower and came home from, after I spent my time in the military, retired. I moved to Texas for 9 years. My stepkids graduated high school, went on with their lives, and I told my husband, I said, I'd like to go back home for a bit. Hope I don't get emotional about any of this, but it sounds like I'm going to. I'll try not to. Yeah, so I was volunteering at the town and noticed some work needed to be done, and with a couple other people decided to start a little project where we started cleaning up, and then it snowballed into this community development. And we're a registered nonprofit. We're going for our Main Street USA type of status to bring more improvements to the town. The one big project that demonstrates anything that we've done the best is the clock tower. See if I can update this. That was part of our cleanup thing. The clock tower was built in 1905, or the city building was built in 1905, and in 1909, Mill Reynolds donated a clock, and they decided to take the roof off the tower, raise it, and then put the clock in there. And it went from, right now the center of the clock is 45 feet above the ground. So the original tower ended right above the arch there below it. That's where the bell sits. So we always have the bell there. It's an 800-pound bell. And they use that as obviously as the fire station to alert different people, when fires are happening. I had one gentleman tell me he used to go over there as a kid and just start ringing it. He got in a lot of trouble a couple times. Apparently it took him a while to learn the lesson. But for generations, the clock's been there. My family has been in Jay County and Reiki specifically for over 125 years. So I know a lot of my ancestors that used to keep time by it, listen to the ring. And so it was very important for my family specifically, but for the town in general. And the clock in 1976 was restored by a small group. And then over the years, it's, as I think Amanda's back there, she can attest, it's quite a little climb up to it. And every day, or every Sunday, we wind it. It's an 8-day clock, it's all mechanical. My brother said if anybody tried to make it, electronic or anything, he would do things that probably aren't legal, so I wouldn't mention that on the video camera. But we wanted to keep it as historic and as accurate as possible, so we started I got the crazy idea. My sister told me I have to pass all the ideas over her next time before we started anything. But I was like, well, let's go up there and see if we can get it running. Well, we couldn't get it running. This was last October. So we started fundraise, and then I kept telling my husband, oh, we can take this part down and clean it up, and we can take this part. Next thing you know, by the end of the year, we had the entire thing pretty much down on the ground, and my husband was not happy, but that's another story. And I go to my brother, and I was like, what can we do with this? Because he's pretty mechanical, and he said, well, we need to clean it, we need to sand it down, we need to paint it, we need to make it look like his famous thing is his 5-year plan. He said, we need a 50-year plan, so this thing is still ringing in another 50 to 100 years. So we started that long process of cleaning it. You can tell the faces. So by January, we had cleaned it all up. We had it running amazingly for a couple of people who have zero clue on how clocks work. And I can't even pronounce the word that talks about people who are into clocks. But we got it all back together and decided, well, now we need to work on the faces. And for that, because it's 45 feet up in the air, we needed a lift. And those are not cheap. So we had a big chili fundraiser in early March, and the town was so generous. We raised over $3,000, and we were able to rent a lift. And as soon as the weather cooperated in May, we started. We had it for 30 days, so we had to go. We had to repair all the faces. My brother had already built new hands. All the hands were, the original hands were out of, it's called sugar pine. Nobody knew what it was. Well, some of you guys might know, I'm not sure. But they started, we got the wood for the new hands. We had already pulled down all the numbers. We sanded and painted them, and that's a lot of little tiny dots and diamonds that represent each minute on the clock face. And by the time, also on the west side, because the west and south sides have the most damage, we took, with Leroy, I know Leroy Brown's come and talk to you guys, they offered up some scrap lumber they pulled out of one of the old buildings in town, and we were able to take the flooring from that building, sand it down, and replace some of the wooden clock face because the wood was all rotted. So needless to say, we did a lot of renovation. And it matters in our little town because we don't have a whole lot over there, you know, but we got a lot of people who want to do a lot of things, and our organization is trying to organize those people together to move in the right direction. This cost us, I think, what do you say, Ted, roughly $6,000?
About 6,000. Mhm.
And the majority of that was the lift. The lift was almost $3,000. So we got a lot of donations, a lot of, well, the time, you know, and energy of all the volunteers was something amazing. But, excuse me, and I totally lost track of where I was going with that. But yeah, so now you can, well, these are just the different, this was our timeline. Last November, we started bringing everything down. Like I said, we cleaned it in the spring, and then June the 7th, my brother climbed his geriatric self up there, and he got it running. We deemed him the clock master of the town, and we had to tweak some things and go along and adjust because it's a weight-driven clock, like your cuckoo clock, so the weights have to be pulled, and we had to figure out how many weights for this, how many weights for that, did they have the right amount of weights, were there too many weights because it was all gummed up, and that's why they had, you know, so it was a lot of trial and error. But we're still working out a few of those kinks here and there. Right now, it's about, what, 5 seconds off every 24 hours?
Yes.
And a lot of that, I think, recently has been the humidity because it's not environmentally controlled, so the humidity, when it's in the summer, it's going to run slower. In the wintertime, it's going to run faster, you know, just the humidity and how it affects, because the pendulum is wood. Obviously, everything else is mechanical, but there's still the expansion and contraction issues there. But, let's see. Sorry, I'm nervous. I lost all track of what I'm doing. But that leads us into, we want to keep this thing going for decades, but we also want to improve the town. And we're dragging everybody along the way. I think I'm going the right way. As we've done this clock rehabilitation, other people have stepped up and they wanted to do things. We did a cemetery cleanup on a cemetery. I lived 3 blocks from this cemetery for my first 20 years of life and didn't even know it was there. It was so overrun. But one of our volunteers stepped up. She took the lead on that, got it cleaned up. We had another, sorry, I had a horrible thought, I was going to say it, but it was bad. But we had another individual step up with a coordinator with the Jay County Hometown Heroes. So now we have 45 banners hanging in town our first year, and we will probably have maybe half that many come this fall when people are already asking about applications to get there to honor their veterans, which obviously being a veteran myself, it's pretty important. My 2 grandfathers served in World War I, my dad in Korea, and I took a little bit of, I guess, privilege, and I said I'd like these to hang outside my mom's house. So they're all just right outside my mom's, our banners, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, like I said, we want to drag along the rest of the town to help us. We've branched out and we're reaching out to sororities and like the Reiki food baskets, which is a great thing. They've been doing that for over 60 years, I think. And we're coordinating with them to help get volunteers, get the word out. Like I said, the sororities, the different town leaders. We just joined with Gas Boom Days Committee, and we're going to find out of the outbrief tonight, but I think we helped increase their fundraising efforts in that like tremendously. I know one of their meat raffle last year, I think $73 was all they raised, and this year was like $1,100. So it's just a matter of, we're trying to bring people out and get them going in the right direction, just to, as it says in our name, develop our community and make it a better place where people want to come, where the streets are cleaner, and you know, it's just a nice place to live. I mean, it is for me because I grew up there, so it's my hometown, so it's nice. And yeah, as it says here, we just want to keep Red Key ticking and moving along just like the clock. And we're looking for volunteers to climb up there. Amanda, I know she's on the list. And I probably rushed through that a lot. Sorry, I'm very nervous. I didn't know if I had to.
That's great. Questions?
What's the plan for the building itself?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Ted. That's what he's here. Stage people in the audience. The plan for the building itself is, one of the previous photographs, there were arched doorways where obviously the fire trucks came in and out. And the goal is to raise the money to get the building fully restored, put the arches back in, make it look more historical. And this will be our anchor point for like revitalizing the downtown. There's quite a few other buildings that are on the list that we want to get a hold of. And, because it's frustrating, as I'm sure a lot of you know, when you see something that you could help with and you want to do it, but you have, barriers in your way and you want to move those people out of the way to just go in there and get it done. So, but yeah, our goal is downtown revitalization, starting with the old city building, the old fire station as everybody calls it, and just make that a centerpiece, something that attracts people. I'm actually going to contact the National Association of Clock and Watchmaker. It's a group dedicated to clocks. Didn't know that was a thing, but I found out recently. And I want to get a hold of them because from what I've been told by Jeff Miller, I'm sure some of you know Jeff Miller in town, he's our local historian, he said that he was told at one point there's only 6 or 8 four-faced operational, like fully mechanical Seth Thomas clocks in the country. So I've seen a couple that are fully mechanical Seth Thomas, just like ours, but they're not four-faced clocks. So, and hopefully my brother wants to get the clock lowered, so it'll be a point where people can come and see it. Because right now it sits right up there where the clock faces are, and we had it on display in Red Key for a while, and a lot of people, a guy who lived in Florida, he was in Pinville for a class reunion, and he came over and saw it before he went home because he wanted to see it in person. But we want to bring it down so it's more visible for everybody. I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe you said that you wind that clock once a week.
Yes, sir.
Could you describe that process?
Yeah, there's the clock itself is the small. I got this little laser here. I hope that's right. Maybe. Oh, clock itself, right here. It's very small, and there's a timing side to it, and then on the whole base of it, there's it's called the strike chain, the timing chain and the strike chain. It's just a barrel with a 1/4-inch cable, and you put the little handle in there, and you just wind it until the weights reach a certain point. Obviously, you don't want to go too high. You'll get them bound up, and then if it's bound up, then the proper weight won't be enough to pull it. I still don't know enough about this clock. I know more than some, but we had the gentleman from Pinville was naming all the parts and pieces, and I was like, oh, so that's not just a round spinny thing, that's actually, it's actually an escapement wheel, so okay. Yeah, so you wind the timing side, which it has 6.5 weights, and each weight is 38 pounds. So the math is, whatever that math is, 180, I don't know exactly what it is, it's math, but history was my strength. And then on the strike chain, it's another, the barrel's about this big around, and I forget the size of the cable, but it's pulling up about 600 pounds. And it's the one that, as it rotates, there's a lever that'll raise on the teeth of the wheel, and then it'll pull the chain, and the hammer comes back. Because the hammer sits on the bell like this, and it pulls it back and just strikes it like that. So that's kind of how it operates. And we just got to go up there. As Amanda can attest, the timing chain isn't a big deal to wind. But when you start winding that other one, and the cable's about 3 times the length of it as well. So.
That was taking all day. Yep.
Yeah.
It was very hard to wind.
Yeah, we were all up there breaking sweat.
Yeah.
So, did anybody else have any questions?
Being a long-term resident of Red Key, you probably know, I've heard it, but I'm not real sure. How did they come up with the name Red Key?
James Redkey, actually. He was one of the, originally I think Mount Vernon was the original name. Halfway, there was another name, and then he was one of the original landowners. And I guess when they opened the post office, they wanted to name it this, I think it was Mount Vernon, and they're like, no, there's another one here in Indiana, so pick another name. And so they named it after one of the pioneers of Red Key in the area, so one of the big landowners.
And the cemetery that was restored, James Redkey's headstone is there.
Was he a minister there?
Yes, he
Yeah.
was, actually.
Yeah.
That's where my sister would come in handy with all
Yeah.
the, she runs the website, so I'm more of a, I'll get in there and tear it apart type. In the Air Force, I was an aircraft electrician, so I worked on airplanes. I don't do the computer things. But were there any other questions?
I think now you can see why I was so excited for you all to get to hear her and get to sense that energy and pride in the community, and that's what moves everybody forward, when you're passionate about something and you work together. And I love seeing you get emotional about your hometown, right? I mean, that's just amazing, that you went out and saw the world and served all of us, and then you came home. So thank you both, Heather and Ted, for all that you guys are doing, so appreciate you all so much. Anybody else have anything to come before the club? Any updates on Rob? I haven't heard. Doug?
I talked to him yesterday, he said it's going very slow,
Okay.
but he's healing.